Okay, on this video we're going to walk through a simple cutscene using Cinemachine. Should be a good one, so check it out. Okay, so cutscene. Let's see, get back over here. I'm just going to do a real simple, easy one. I'll kind of demonstrate what we're going to do with the scene real quick. Hit play. Okay, that's about it. We're just going to do a real simple camera movement using Cinemachine. It's going to show you a real easy use of that. You're just going to be using Cinemachine because the camera's got to focus on, and so we just want it to stay focused on our pickup item here that we're looking for, and then I can move the camera all the way around and it's always going to be looking at this, so we don't have to worry about rotating the camera with the keyframes and stuff. Okay, so first we're on Cinemachine. We can get that if you go to Window and you go to the asset or package manager, sorry. You can just type in Cinemachine here in the search bar, or you can just scroll down where it says Cinemachine. It's going to say install. You just hit install, and then when it installs, you know, it'll look like this. And then you'll have Cinemachine up here in your drop down menu, and it'll have all the different cameras and options that you can use. But we're just going to use this one right here. Okay. So the only thing I really did is I just created a new camera. I called it the cutscene camera. Okay. There. I'll go ahead and turn it back on. The Cinemachine, I'll show you. That's the camera we're going to create, and really, all this really is a controller for this camera. Okay, I'll kind of explain that better. But first, on our player, so we can see what we're doing on our other camera, we just need to turn our player's camera off. And once that happens, we can kind of, it'll allow us to see what this camera's seeing better. It won't, this one won't be overriding. Go ahead and turn this one back on. Okay, so there's our cutscene camera right there. Okay, so with our cutscene camera selected, all we have to do is go up to Cinemachine and create virtual camera. Okay, and it'll pop this. It's probably going to end up down here at the bottom, but I'll move it up here so it stays together. And then your cutscene camera, or whatever you call it, is going to have this little Cinemachine icon on it. Okay, so if you look at it, that's going to be called a Cinemachine brain. Click on there. You really don't have to change anything. It's just really a controller, or this is going to allow this to control our camera. Alright, and then this right here, our virtual camera. We're not going to really do anything with it, although there is a lot of stuff you can do with it. The only thing we're worried about is this look at feature right here. It does have a follow, so like if you have a game object that moves in the scene, you can put that in here and the camera will follow it. Okay, but we just want to do the look at. So in our smaller room, we have our pickup item. That's what we just click and drag, and we place it in here for the look at. So to kind of see it in action, we can take our game window here, kind of split the views right there, and then when we move our camera, you'll notice that the little crosshairs are always on that pickup object, which is just what we want, because we can move this camera anywhere we want, and it's always going to be looking at it. Okay. So it makes animating the rotations a lot easier. Okay. So with that, with this right here, I'll kind of explain this here in a second. I'm going to put these two together so we can bring down our animation timeline and have it run across the bottom here. So if I take this tab, move it there. Okay, if we go to Window, you go to Animation, and Animation. Let's go pull up this animation timeline. Okay. I'm just going to bring it down here and really just kind of dock it right there. And once I do that, I'm going to resplit these windows. So I can move and kind of see what's going on at the same time. Okay, so when we bring this down and we have this selected, remember this is what we're going to be animating because this is going to be controlling this. Okay. It says to begin animating that camera, create an animation clip. Okay, so you just want to hit create. It's going to bring up in my assets. I have a folder named animations, and this is where I have all my animations. It's going to ask for the name of my new animation clip, and I'll just call it cutscene 2. Okay, now if we go down here and look at my animations folder, it's created a new animator, which we are not going to use, so that's, don't even worry about that. But then we have our cutscene tune animation ready to go. Okay, so if I bring this up a little bit. Alright, so if you look in our animation bar here, we've got cutscene 2. It's looking for some properties. So what we're going to use when we record this camera are the position and the rotation. So with our camera highlighted and selected, we go to add property. You've got transforms. We're going to do the position, add property, transforms, and rotation. Okay, so those are what we're going to be recording. And if we take a look at our timeline here, it looks like, and if it doesn't look like it's got a time segment, it looks like this. Okay, this right here is in frames. Okay, and if you're running at 60 frames a second, so that's 1 second. And we want to go ahead and do kind of a timeline. It's just easier for me. If it's easier for you in frames, then use that. But I prefer time. So the other thing that you gotta watch out for is this looks like 0 minutes 40 seconds. Okay, and that's actually 4/10 of a second. Okay, that's 1 second, even though they have it like that. So we can put our cursor in here, and with our mouse wheel, we can kind of roll back with our mouse wheel, and we want to make this about 5 or 6 seconds. So right here, it looks like 6 minutes. That's going to be 6 seconds. Okay, you might also notice that when we brought these in, it automatically added keyframes here at the front and keyframes here at the back, at the 1 second mark, which, we'll do this ourselves later. So if you want to, you can just click on those, highlight in blue, hit delete, get rid of those. Now these right here are keyframed right here where the camera's at now. Okay, if you haven't moved it to the first position, you can go ahead and do that and just reset keyframes, which be this right here. You just want to highlight this, shift select that, and just hit keyframes, and it'll readjust those. But right now I've got it set where I want it. So to record our new clip for 6 seconds, I want to take the camera at my start position, and the easiest thing to do is to move it to the end position where I want it at the end, and then I'll worry about the in between when I get done with that. So to do that, I can take my scrubber bar here and just left click and slide. I'll go ahead and put it right here about 6 seconds. First one we did is about 4 seconds. And we can let's go ahead and do 4 seconds. That seemed about long enough. they're close. Okay, so let's move the camera to where I want it in. And on this one, I think, instead of kind of coming in and going up, I think I'm going to go in right up here next to it and do a slow pan across where it kind of goes across the front of it. We'll see how that looks. Okay, so with that selected, I want to select, we're going to do the position, hold down shift, and the rotation at the same time. We've got our scrubber bar placed here at the 4-second mark. And then we can go ahead and place our camera where we want it there at the end. So we can just move it forward. There. Have it come across. Kind of like that. Maybe right there. Oops. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to set the recorder. But let's see. I have this and this. Okay. You can just hit that right there and that'll add keyframes automatically. You can hit this record button and then you don't have to hit this add keyframes button. Just every time you move your camera, it's going to record where you're at and set keyframes. So let's see what this camera movement looks like. Take this, put it out there. Okay, I kind of want it to come up to the right side a little bit more. So about right here. I'll do that, and I'll demonstrate this little record button. You can hit that, and you'll see that turns red, this turns red, and our transforms up here turn red. And then I want it to come forward just a little bit more, about right there, and you'll see it adds a whole new set of keyframes. And then when we're done, we can just go ahead and click the record button off there. We can back this up. Kind of scrub forward. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's not perfect. It's whatever you want to do. But once we get that done, that's all we really have to do. So that's going to be 4 seconds worth of animation on this camera. You can just click off over here. And really we're pretty much done with this. So we can click right here. We can close that tab. Okay. Now the other thing that we have to do is on this cutscene animation, to use it like we're going to use it, we need to make this a legacy animation clip. So in order to do that, up here on these 3 little dots for the menu, click on there, choose debug. It's going to bring up all of this. We want to make sure we choose legacy, so we'll check mark that. We've got 60 frames a second set up, and we're not going to loop it, so go ahead and turn off that loop time. Okay, then under wrap mode, we can just hit once. Okay, and then with that, we can go back here to the 3 dots and just hit normal. Okay, that should say once now. I should say the length, which is going to be 4 seconds, a little over. Alright, so there's that. Okay, so now if we look at our cutscene camera, and if you look at this right here, you know, and you add that animator, this will be checked on. Go ahead and click that off, okay? Because we're not going to be using that animator at all. You can delete it if you want to, but I just turn stuff off. But on our cutscene camera, we've got the Cinemachine brain, and now we need to bring in this animation component. And to get this in there, you can just do add component, type in like anim, and it should bring up all the stuff with animator in it. And you can just hit animation, and that'll add this component And since the first one we just had this cutscene 1, and then if you look down below it, it has these animations, and there's actually like you can set up an array of animation scenes that you can play through, but we just have one scene. So you can just do this right here and hit none, and go up here to that size, hit 0, and just kind of start from fresh. And then we can go ahead and add our cutscene 2 in there. Okay, that's the one we just did. It's going to play automatically when this comes on. Okay, and it's going to control, this one. Let me get going. So we're going to go ahead, go back to our first person character here, turn that main camera back on for our player, and then since we have our scripts turning these on when we get triggered, I'll turn these back off. I'm just going to make sure this animation clip works, and then I'll show you the script I wrote and the other stuff that I used to make the sequence. So let's go ahead and give this a shot, see if it works. And it works. That's it. It was the one we just did. I know it's pretty close to the original one. But that is the new animation. So, so once you get that animation and you have it loaded up here on your animation sequence, we just need to set up a script that'll run all that. We also have a transition sequence that I'll show you also. It's just when it transitions, I've got a just a slight little animation that kind of helps the transition between being at the orb, transitioning to this camera, and then transitioning back to our player camera. I'll kind of show you that too. Let's see. Okay, so I have a transmission image, and all it is on my canvas. It's just a background image, takes up the whole screen, and it's just black. Okay, and it's just something I activate, and it just kind of fills up so you don't see any of this. It's just kind of like a black transition, and it's usually so fast, and you really can't even tell. But it's just kind of a good thing to have as a transition piece on there. And then I just have this simple animation of this transition out, which it's just a let's see. It's got like a, I don't know if I can. Well, it goes from clear to full opaque black, then back to clear. Okay, all within 1 second. So it's just a real quick black transition between one camera to another. Okay, and all you do with that is same with the animating the camera. Just take your transition image, add an animation. You find on the properties, you find the image.color. Okay, and you just have it start out here as clear, alpha 0, transition to 30 seconds. Your alpha is 1, that's what that A stands for. And then we're going to transition back to, at 1 second, 0 alpha. So clear, 1 clear. And then, you just pick the color on your piece itself. Okay. And then all I really did is I wrote a cutscene manager script. I'll go ahead and bring it up now. I'll walk through it. Okay. Looks pretty long and complicated. It's not. It's just a lot of repetitive stuff. I've got all the game objects. I've got our cutscene camera. I got the player camera that's on the player. The game object, that transition image I was talking about. Okay. The box collider on the vase. This is the trigger. Public audio clip, which is going to be I've got the music that plays during a cutscene. And then if you listen, once we get out of this cutscene, there's a different kind of more dramatic music that plays for about 1.5 minutes, where you kind of have to find the door that leads you to the pickup piece. And then this is kind of the normal gameplay music we got going on. This is the door that I have that shader on that glows when I arrow over it. This is the door that doesn't glow. So if you go in there at first and go around to all the doors, none of them glow. The only thing that glows is the orb in the middle. But then as soon as I trigger that and trigger that cutscene, I replace that door with a door that glows. So you know, after that cutscene, you can arrow over and go, oh, okay, that's the door I need to go in. So, and then I've got an audio source for playing all the music and stuff. And then I just have this right here is this cutscene begin. And I'm calling the transition image. So when this activates, that transition image is going to set true. And as soon as that sets true, it's going to activate that animation. Grabbing my audio source, putting the cutscene music clip in there, and I'm playing it. And then I'm starting this coroutine. Wait for it. So the coroutine is just kind of like a it's kind of like a start and stop type of deal. And we can go from there. So as this starts the whole animation, starts the transition of going to the next camera and all that stuff. So when this starts, I'm going to have it wait for half a second. And then I'm going to set the cutscene camera to active. I'm going to set the player camera to active. And these times right here, they were just kind of, I set these things up just with random numbers, and then I had to go through and kind of adjust the timing for them in between there. But after half a second, after we trigger it, set that cutscene camera active, player camera false. Okay, and as soon as this camera goes active, it starts playing that animation. Okay, so I wait for another 5 seconds. I turn that transition image back off. Okay, and then I wait for another 3.5 seconds, and then I set that transition image back again, so it's going to activate and do the animation again. Then I'm going to wait for a half second, and I'm going to turn my player camera back on, turn the cutscene camera back off. I'm going to replace the audio that's playing with this audio clip. I'm going to play it. And then the trigger for the vase, where we walked up and triggered the animation scene, I got to set that trigger false. Otherwise, when we come back out of the scene, it just re-triggers and plays the scene again. So I set the trigger to false, and then I wait for another half second. I set the transition image back to false again. I want to go ahead and do the door dot set active to false, which is going to be the one that doesn't glow, and then I want to do the glow door dot set active to true. Okay, so both these doors are in the same spot. I just have one turned off and one on. And then when I want to switch them, I just turn this one off and turn this one on. Okay? Then I wait for 5 seconds after we transition back to the main scene. I've given myself 5 seconds, which probably isn't long enough, and then I re-enable that trigger. So you can, if you can't find what you're supposed to be looking for, you can go back and re-trigger that cutscene. Okay? But just not immediately. And it probably needs to be more like 10 seconds, but you know. Then I want to yield return and wait another 60 seconds to let that music play. Then I have going up here the more dramatic music, and then I'm going to replace it with the normal gameplay music and have it start playing. Okay, and then respect normal gameplay. Okay, the trigger on the vase itself is real easy. I just have a on trigger enter collider other. Then I want to get the cutscene manager, which is this script. I call it cutscene manager, and do GameObject.find level manager, okay, which is the game object that has that script on there. And I want to get the component cutscene manager, that script. Okay, I want to put if other.tag is equal to player. I want to get the cutscene manager.cutscene begin. Okay, so that's what starts the whole routine on this cutscene manager. Okay, so I'm calling that from here. So when I transition into that trigger, it calls this off of the script. Okay. Let's see. Then on the door controller, I just have a, I have it go up. So I've got a float speed of 2. I got a private bool player in range. I defaulted to false. Just on an on trigger enter, if the other tag is player, we're going to set the bool player in range to true. Okay. And then on our update, we're going to say if player in range, which means is true. You used to have to put, is equal to true, but player in range just means that's true. Now I'm going to do GameObject.transform, translate, vector 3 up times the speed times time.delta time. Okay, so that just starts the door moving up. Okay, and it'll just keep going up. That's why I have this coroutine here. I always call them wait for it. It's just a habit. So on my coroutine, as that door is going up, I'm just going to wait for 4 seconds and then set it to false. I set it to false because I've got some stuff on it that if I set active, turn it off, then it throws up all sorts of warning signs, which really don't hurt anything, but just to keep it clean, I just turn it off. It just travels upwards forever as long as you're in that scene. So, okay, something else. And this is just a simple, in the video at the beginning where I had the camera rotating around the orb in the scene, this was just a simple script I put on the camera. Put a float, and did it's just transform.rotate on the y-axis, that vector 3 up times the speed times that delta time. It's just going to rotate that camera constantly around. And that's what that does. So anyway, go back here. And that's pretty much what it is. If you do have any questions, if you get lost on there, or if I had skipped over something that you think I might have missed, just let me know. Ms. Voss should be giving you guys my email address just in case you miss me on our open chat day. And I'll try to answer you as soon as possible. It's not like I got too much going on besides mowing the yard. So, yeah, if I did miss something or not explaining something just right, just let me know, and I'll see if I can try to explain it for you. But I'll just go through this one more time. Okay, I think I have my transition image on. And say, oh look, oh look in there. Treasure! And now when I go around the room and look at the door, it glows. It must be in there. See the door's just going up for infinity, and then I turn it off. It's kind of cool, it glows though if you put it around. Ooh. Okay, lost my mouse. Alright, so yep. So if you have any questions, just meet me on a live chat day, or try to email me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, thanks.